GSL 더 월드가 열린 지 3년째잖아요. 제가 처음에 열렸을 때 투표로 못 가가지고 다른 선수보다 인기가 없는 것 같아서 나는 실력으로 포인트로 가야겠다 생각이 들어서 이제 연초부터 더 열심히 했는데 또 이렇게 실력으로 가게 되어가지고 너무 기쁘네요. 솔직히 예전 같으면 대진 괜찮네 했겠지만 이번에 GSL 때 연습을 많이 도와주면서 느꼈는데 되게 잘해줬더라고요. 첫세전 되게 잘해가지고 그렇게 쉬운 상대만은 아닌 것 같아요. 솔직히 영우는 뭐 자기도 가야 되는 입장이어서 별로 크게 신경 안 썼거든요. 그냥 얘 또 깝죽거리는구나 했는데 명훈이가 그러면 조금 충격이 있을 것 같아요. 지금 또 약간 저는 안 갔다고 걔는 전역했잖아요. 게임이라도 이겨야겠다라는 생각이 들어서 꼭 이겨야 될 것 같아요. 제가 작년도 그렇고 올해도 연초에는 계속 잘하고 있었는데 좀 연말에 많이 아쉬운 모습을 보여드렸더라고요. 올해는 꼭 연말에도 잘해서 GSL 더 월드나 GSL에서 우승할 수 있도록 할 테니 많은 응원 부탁드릴게요.
사실 이번 월드를 준비하기 전부터 기세가 좀 올라오고 있었어요. 그래서 GSL에서도 좋은 경기를 보여드릴 준비를 하고 있었는데 마침 이렇게 대회가 하나 더 생겨서 저는 하나 더 보여줄 수 있으니까 더 좋은 것 같고, 많은 분들이 걱정하시는 걸로 아는데 저는 자신 있습니다. 걱정 안 하셔도 될 것 같습니다. 그 조 추첨식을 생방송으로 봤는데 전 나름 괜찮았어요. 왜냐면은 일단 제일 만나기 싫었던 건 저그였고, 그 다음이 중간이 토스, 좋았던 건 테란인데 뭐 중간이라서 좋지도 싫지도 않았던 것 같고, 도우랑 연습을 많이 하는 편인데 나름 승률이 괜찮아요. 그래가지고 저도 개인적으로 토스전에 자신감이 많이 붙어서 자신 있습니다. 제가 뭐 군대 갔다 온 사이에 외국 선수들이 굉장히 많이 발전했더라고요. 그래서 저도 복귀하고 가장 신기했던 것 중에 하나가 이런 점들이었는데, 이제 그거를 제가 직접적으로 좀 붙잡을 수 있는 기회가 생겨서 좀 설레기도 하고, 저는 또 자신감이 있기 때문에 좋은 경기 보여드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다. 여러분들 덕분에 제가 꿈꾸지도 못하던 GSL 더 월드를 참가하게 되었습니다. 너무 감사드리고, 여러분들이 없었다면 저는 지금 이 시간에 그냥 집에서 연습이나 하고 있었을 텐데 이런 소중한 기회를 주신 것에 감사드리고 저는 좋은 경기로 보답하도록 하겠습니다.
(2019) GSL versus the world.
Good evening, my people up in the chandeliers.
And we're back here at GSL versus the world. It's time for our final match. Classic versus fantasy, and big cheers there in the audience.
Yeah. I have a feeling that might be fantasy there. A lot of fantasy fans got a lot of votes from all those big streams that he did as well. Definitely deserves to be here, and he's certainly very happy to be here. But is he happy to be going up against Classic?
Nobody should ever be happy to be going up against Classic. But I'm very excited though. I really hope that FanTaSy's got some crazy stuff, right? Because if he's gonna play the most basic stuff ever, let's be honest, he's gonna lose, okay? Classic is too good. But maybe he's got something very weird, very crazy, very special prepared for all of us. And then this could really be one hell of a series.
Well, let me tell you something, Rotterdam. I can pinky promise you that he's not going to play standard straight up TVP because he's fantasy and he's never done that in any game he's ever played.
It's so crazy to have these two guys duking it out. I know that a lot of our StarCraft 2 viewers might not be that familiar with StarCraft 1 history, but Fantasy was one of the greatest StarCraft 1 players of all time. Of course, he's now going up against one of the greatest StarCraft 2 players of all time. Had these roles been reversed, had we be playing StarCraft 1, it would be a completely different angle. But this is going to be a tough one for Fantasy. He has not seen the same kind of success in StarCraft 2 that he's already achieved in StarCraft 1.
Yeah, FanTaSy, I mean, he does have a very unique style against Protoss, so maybe Classic can mess up here and there, but Classic's been a very aggressive Protoss lately. You know, he used to be Mr. Macro for me, but lately he's been Mr. Proxy, Mr. Cheese, Mr. Weird, Mr. Aggressive. And FanTaSy, it might actually be like two players clashing with a very similar idea. And which one comes out on top in the end? That's what this series is for me.
I'm personally a little bit afraid that Classic sometimes is also Mr. No Fun, because he's just too freaking good, okay? He's like, oh, you want to play really fun games? Well, here's 5 stalkers in a prism, get out of here, nerd. So I just hope it's going to be better than that, and hopefully Classic is wearing his fun pants. And yeah, I do really think it has potential, but I mean, Classic is a big favorite here.
Well, look, no matter what, a Korean gets to move forward, which
That
is
is
so
true.
important.
Thank God. I mean, we were running out of them here.
All right, game 1 has loaded up. Classic versus FanTaSy. Best of 5 starts now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round of 16, match 8.
In the bottom right, in the blue, our Protoss player, he is
Makers, Classic.
and his opponent here in the upper left, in the red, he is
Pixel 1, FanTaSy.
What's the map score, Tasteless?
right now 0-0.
But what is it going to be?
I think it's going to be 3-0 Artosis. I think
Wow.
Classic's really going to take it.
Wow.
I know that FanTaSy is a great player. He's got a brilliant mind, but Classic just looks unstoppable. And he really beats up on Terrence in a way that's totally different.
He does, but didn't FanTaSy say that he was confident?
He did.
And, like, are you just someone who takes what FanTaSy, one of the greatest Brood War players of all time, says and just says, well, you don't know what you're talking about, FanTaSy. Me, Tasteless, I know. You don't know FanTaSy.
In this PBT, I do that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so we're 100% crystal clear, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I wanted to clarify is all that you think FanTaSy's dumb and you're calling him out.
I will tell you, I would love to see him win a game here. I just don't think it's very likely.
You know, he's been improving though. He
has
has.
been.
Like his last couple GSL seasons, round of 16. That's that's good.
I would put it like this. I think FanTaSy in a few years is going to be one of the most untouchable Terrans we've ever seen.
I think
But
you're right.
he was a late bloomer in StarCraft 1. It did take him a while before he really rose to the top. And, a lot of his games have been pretty bumpy here in StarCraft 2, but that's sort of normal. You know, some players, they pick up the game right away.
Yeah.
And are very, very dominant until everybody else catches on. Some of these guys even trendsetters, but still, when their builds get pulled apart, then we start to see the a whole new level of play. But I don't know that FanTaSy's there yet. Now, that being said, he's got a big amount of supporters that came down to the studio here. So, I don't know. Maybe we're in for a surprise.
Kind of hoping for it, to be honest. I'd really like to see FanTaSy advance, and I think that gives us a very interesting TVT in the next round if he does. Whereas if Classic kills FanTaSy, like, I mean, Special's good. He beat SOS, right? So I guess there's a chance, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. By the way, Twilight Council coming down now. As we've got some more Stalkers being warped in. Here's going to be the other 2 gateways thrown down.
Yeah, give him a little bit of a wall there, so Hellion run-bys and whatnot are going to be less likely.
So, for Classic here, looking at a player like this, and Classic really in the last 2 or 3 years has been one of the most dominant forces in Protoss we've ever seen. I mean, he's been really on the cutting edge of builds. He's still our oldest player here, right? Or no, is FanTaSy actually?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually.
Yeah,
I believe FanTaSy is older than Classic, but I'm not. I'm not 100% on that.
Now
one.
I'm not sure because.
Well, it's kind of funny because FanTaSy was already good in StarCraft 1 when Classic got recruited.
I want to think that FanTaSy's older just because he was better. He was the best about a decade ago in StarCraft 1. But I'm not sure if that actually.
I wish being older just made you better. But
basically, guys, in most GSLs, which Classic always qualifies for, we'll say that he's the oldest player, right?
Yeah, it's been
FanTaSy's not in every GSL, so now I'm not sure if this stat I throw out is actually correct. Either way, 2 very, very storied players.
Age is just a number.
So we've got Blink coming here. A Robo's on the way. On the Terran side of the map, we see FanTaSy going for a Raven.
Yeah.
Raven's very common now to get out, as you know, taking your third base.
Sure. And very quick 3 command center. So definitely pushing it forward with his economy. His third actually finishing before Classic starts his. So when you look at this game right here, right now, at this exact instant, you definitely have to consider that FanTaSy has a slight edge as far as build orders go.
Yeah, I'm definitely liking this position for him. Now we see him upgrading Cloak over here as Blink's about to finish up. He hasn't been scouted by anything, so.
Well,
it's
which
okay.
side?
There it is. There's a Banshee actually coming. I thought for a second. Hold on. So we've got the third Nexus coming out. So both these guys are pretty passive to start things off.
Yeah, very kind of greedy builds on both sides.
Yeah, everybody's cutting corners to try to get into a healthy position in the late game.
But it's a big macro map anyways, right?
Yeah, for sure. The space between the two players is so much so that, especially in this matchup, you're not really incentivized on either side to feel pressured to attack in. It looks like we may have some harass here from Classic, but that's just because Blink is done. He's going to see if he can get some extra damage.
Yeah.
But a full-on attack that's intended to end the game, especially in PvT where you share the same number of bases, kind of hard to see that as an option here.
Look at that. He's pushing in right away. He actually picks off the Cyclone very, very quickly, so that was nice. But the auto turret and a couple tanks going to force him back. I mean, worthwhile, I would say.
Okay, here come those Stalkers again. Any little free kills you can get, not bad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gotta
that
be
was
worth
really
it.
nice. Like a fresh mule, an SCV as well, pushing him back, making him reposition. Really nice harassment so far from Classic. This is exactly the type of way you want to play this. Oops. No scout there.
Actually lost the hallucinated Phoenix there.
And right now, you can't tell whether he's going mech or bio. So that was actually kind of an important hallucination.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Artosis. There's still some ambiguity. Just because you see a few infantry units early on doesn't 100% telegraph that it's going to be a bio game.
Ooh, look at this Banshee come in here. No detection around, no units around as well.
Remember that we saw that Observer get shot down as it came in there to spot for the Stalkers. So this could end up doing a lot of damage. And by the way, a huge amount of gateways being produced right now. Classic, as that third base kicks in, is going to be very, very strong.
Yeah, and look at that. He uses a full huge recall that even brings his Prism, which I think was probably just a mistake. It was just a very quick recall. Observer's finally getting back here, but the Banshee going to get out scot-free. Look at this, though. The same worker count. Mech is on the way. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of gateways out and everything, but normally you're not going to be able to really bust him. He might have... I mean, we've seen Classic do these insane attacks sometimes where we're like, no, he's behind a wall, he has siege tanks, you're not going to break him. Then Classic's like, oh, no, I broke him exactly. So
yeah, every once in a while, Classic gets a takedown where I'm like, oh, all
yeah.
right, I guess you can just do that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're going to have it now. I mean, one thing about, as all these factories finish, you know, we have these tanks beginning to roll out, but you know, it takes a little bit longer for these factory units to come out. So occasionally there are these moments you can attack in.
Sure.
Again, we're only really saying this, you know, talking about an idea of Classic trying to bash in there right away is because it's Classic. We've seen them do it before.
Yeah.
Basically, any other Protoss in the world, probably not going to happen.
No. Okay, a couple High Templars in a Prism here. Looks like we're going to have a Storm Drop. Yeah.
Okay, how much damage will this do? Oh my god. Okay, that was
Yeah, not
almost
bad.
perfect, but 7 kills is definitely enough.
Yeah, that was really reasonable. I love these Terran skins, by the way. Just awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty sick, man. So Classic, by the way, is going to expand at the bottom. Again, PvT, both the races kind of need to stay even on bases. It's not like a Zerg matchup where one race is compelled, in this case Zerg, to always outgrow the other side. So I think for, you know, the foreseeable future, a lot of this game is going to be a few pokes, attempts to kill workers here and there. You know, medevacs or actually I should say war prisms coming in here trying to do a little bit of damage here and there. The Banshee coming in trying to get some kills, but no big full-on attacks just yet because they are so far apart.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see any full-on attacks for a little bit here. You know, obviously he knows that he's going mech. He's going up into either Tempest or Carrier. Classic is, whereas FanTaSy just has so many factories already. He's getting all of his upgrades and making a rather large army of Cyclone Hellion.
This is a pretty ambitious move here by Classic. He's trying to just come in here and see if he can get any extra damage off. It basically just gets a turret. I did like this moment we had earlier where this Banshee hid down here next to an Observer and then cloaked.
You gotta keep those mind games up, Tasis.
Yeah.
All right, a Carrier on the way. So we see what type of late game he is going for. kind of interesting to see those carriers very, very quickly here.
Okay,
But FanTaSy moving out.
And FanTaSy with a far superior supply,
Yeah.
a much bigger army, 108 supply to 66.
This looks very good for FanTaSy right now. Like, maybe we can get some massive size storms down, but the army of Classic is not really that strong. He doesn't have robo units with it. It's just gateway units.
Yeah, I think a counterattack would be necessary, but it looks like this is going to get spotted. Great storms there, but you know, that was, I think, intended for workers, not an attacking army. I don't know that Classic actually has enough. I'm suddenly
it
under the
doesn't feel like
impression
it.
that FanTaSy is macroed so perfectly that he might just be able to roll over Classic entirely.
Yeah, it really looks that way. Look at the amount of siege tanks right now, but Classic has fielded a much bigger army than we saw previously. Oh my god, he's going for a counterattack, but there's a planetary there.
Yeah, I think Classic may just straight up lose this. Let's see if these SCVs can repair this in time. We have Hellions in the back. That's going to be make it much harder for these Zealots to do the damage to actually take this out. This is sort of the perfect set of units to handle this. And even if the planetary is taken out, which I think it might barely be saved here. Hold on. Oh, no, was not repairing that at the last second. Even then, I think it doesn't matter because there's so much barreling towards Classic's main.
Well, he's losing 2 of his Nexuses right now.
Yeah.
And sure, these carriers are coming down and should be able to clean up the rest of this army. But this definitely feels much better for Classic. Look at that. Great disables even to keep him off his back.
FanTaSy is living his best life right now. This is...
He's living his best life.
This is incredible. He is playing so well. He's basically got him down to almost, well, now it's going to be just the Terran in his main.
Yeah, you can't even replace your interceptors at this point, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
His best life, Tasteless. Hashtag new meta, new me.
I can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, he's played perfectly.
Crushing. He's
and
crushing.
Look, the last Nexus goes down, and now Classic is completely broke. He does have these carriers. I can't imagine that they're going to be able to come all the way across the map in time and do any damage. So we'll see Classic play this out, but expect a Terran victory here.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he's supply blocked. His army is nothing. He doesn't have any economy. It's as bad as it can really get. Look at those 2 Immortals trying so hard right now. And he's even microing hard against them as well. You can tell how seriously he's taking this.
I can't believe how perfectly he led up to this moment. I mean, they really didn't touch each other that much at all. So, I mean, it seems like actually FanTaSy followed a better algorithm. To get to point A to point
Well,
Z
it's
here.
interesting to see just how quickly Classic wanted to get into carriers. You know, you normally don't see it really that quickly. It seems like there's a little bit of targeting errors there on these Cyclones. Definitely got to take off that autocast so you can make sure you target carriers.
Is it
if you're
really
lock on an interceptors, that's pretty bad.
Is it really any coincidence, Artosis, that we're seeing FanTaSy dominating a game that looks like a StarCraft 1 game right now, with Protoss carriers trying to fight a Terran mech army?
That is actually a very interesting point you bring up.
Yeah. GG. FanTaSy takes game 1 in a very surprising and impressive victory.
Well, he is FanTaSy, right? Don't doubt it. He's one of the greatest ever in Brood War, and he returned to StarCraft 2 for a reason. He still has that competitive drive. He still wants to be the professional gamer. And, I mean, you look at that game right there, very well executed. He had his own build, his own brand, and it worked out perfectly. Classic's going to have to pull this together now.
Yeah, Classic definitely miffed by that loss back there, but it is a best of 5. There's still plenty of opportunities here for Classic to prove that, in fact, he is the better player, but I'm just caught off guard.
2, 1.
Going into the map, new Repugnancy, though. Classic versus FanTaSy. Are we going to see a similar result, Artosis? Because, honestly...
It's a much smaller map. You can't just insta-3 CC like we saw last game.
So you think it might have been the map back there?
Well, certainly the map played well to FanTaSy's strategy.
Let's find out what happens. Game 2 is loaded up. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the upper right, in the blue, our Protoss player, he is...
Makers Classic.
In the bottom left, in the red, winning game number 1, he is...
Pixel 1 FanTaSy.
So, very exciting to see FanTaSy continually, like every single tournament, right? His first tournament back was Super Tournament, like last year. And if you recall, it was a big surprise he qualified, and then he got wrecked. He got dumpstered 3-0, right? It was like actually a really bad series. But it was like, wow, I mean, he made it through there, and then he's been having good online results. He gets a round of 32 in GSL, and then a round of 16, and then a round of 16, and every season he looks better. Okay, now we've only seen one game here today, so I don't want to oversell it, but it is FanTaSy. This guy is an actual legend from the most competitive period of esports basically ever, which is the Kespa StarCraft 1 era, right?
Yeah.
So no one should actually be surprised if FanTaSy just suddenly, like, everything clicks and he wins a big tournament. You shouldn't be surprised, and if you're surprised, you just didn't do your homework and you don't understand what it is to be an actual legend in that game.
Well, here's another thing to keep in mind as well, is that the way that he won that game is when you really have two players from two very different skill sets. Like, the pattern that FanTaSy followed in his build allowed him to be so comically ahead of Classic. And that's a sign of, you know, a really brilliant player, somebody who really has their finger on the pulse of exactly how their race can operate. And, oh, hold on a second. Things are getting weird pretty quickly.
Yeah. So he proxies second racks. That's very interesting.
But he's also still expanding.
Yeah. Well, it's like a barracks expand into a proxied second barracks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure exactly what this is, but if you look back at that first game, right, he actually hit a very sharp timing attack you were kind of talking about, where it's like if he had waited any longer, there might have been enough carriers that it really slows that down. Maybe the game turns around, right? If Classic sells 4 bases, he's totally fine. But yeah, this might be something where FanTaSy just looks at this and he's like, oh god, against most builds, I'm going to just have this funny amount of units at this funny time and get you.
Is he going to try to get concussive shells or something?
I believe so. I'd be really surprised if it's anything else.
Yeah, so what you can do sometimes with, you know, some proxy to play, yeah, there it is, the concussive shells, is because the Marauder abruptly gets there so early, you can end up slowing the units down as they're trying to run away. You know, the Protoss units, and this sort of snowballs out of control.
Yeah, concussive shell rushes are like, you see them sometimes right now.
Yeah.
But it catches you off guard a lot of the time, and if they get the first unit, a lot of times that'll help snowball it very quickly.
One other idea before this rush actually starts, I want to point out. Some of you guys might be asking, well, why would you expand and then do this? Isn't it stronger to just immediately do this? Well, there's no way Classic is expecting this.
No.
It's basically, he's dismissed this as a possibility. He's now thinking of every other thing that could happen because this rush is so awkwardly timed. And this is really exhibiting an incredibly deep understanding.
He thinks it's more likely Hellions, so he's in some serious trouble right here.
Yeah.
This is going to be difficult.
Classic actually looking startled when this even showed up on our player camera. Now the probes have been pulled here. The Phoenixes are going to come out. They can be pretty handy at disabling these Marauders, but they've now spent their time here. And we're going to have more and more infantry come up here. And keep in mind, this is where these pylons, if we can unpower this, I mean, these gateways are going to go down, and then these bunkers are going to finish.
Well, he's got only one SCV left there, so he's got to either send more or give up the bunker plan. But he's got so many units, it might not even matter.
Yeah,
FanTaSy crushing through.
Okay, now again, these Phoenixes are over time going to get enough energy to maybe win this fight. He has now unpowered that robo, but it just now gets set back up.
You know what? He gave up 4 or 5 SCVs trying to pull this off, but he's killed way more probes than that.
Okay, here we go. 2 more SCVs coming. It is actually low worker count on both sides, 31 to 34 here.
He's actually misclicking here a lot. Tried to start that bunker up again several times. He could have already had it done.
Did he get every SCV again? Wait, there's one more.
Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
This series is so good.
Pause the game! I mean, that's crazy.
Okay. Classic actually barely holds us off. Had SCVs finished the bunker, it would be a different story, but now the bunkers are canceled, and that means the Immortal's going to get out, and the Immortal is going to beat not just bunkers had they been there, but of course Marauders as well.
He misclicked 3-4 times on that second bunker, by the way. That was very close to going up, and that was definitely a FanTaSy error, as well as Classic capitalizing as quickly as he could. Now there's almost no units left, and Classic has a bunch of harassment tools, so suddenly, you know, this looked so good for FanTaSy at the beginning of that rush, but it's really been turned on its head.
Okay, Classic. I love how he immediately punches back here.
Yeah.
Phoenixes go across the map. Stalkers heading down here to make sure that FanTaSy is absolutely respecting the advantage that Classic has.
At the end of the day, look at that. Actually, FanTaSy losing a bit more than Classic as far as resources. And, you know, Classic, I feel like his unit set overall is looking pretty strong, right? He's got his Robo, he's getting into Colossus stack, and he's got a good group of Phoenixes. So he can harass as well as stop things like harassment.
Yeah, you know, I really thought FanTaSy was going to win that because the idea was so good. It almost seems like it would have been more worth it to send a few more SCVs with that rush, since when the bunkers get up, then that position is absolutely lost.
Yeah. Just barely.
What did he
didn't
send?
work out.
5 SCVs, or was it
He had
4?
4 SCVs.
So maybe if he sent 6, although he might have had it mathed out where he has a perfect production to match.
I think that's right because you know he was adding on tech and things at home as well. He's already building the Stargate or the starport rather. So you know it was good micro from his opponent there. Classic did a good job holding, and that's definitely not a build that he is practiced against.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, talk about a total freak out moment here when you see that suddenly show up.
Yeah.
But again, Classic, he really does have some of the best micro in all of StarCraft 2. So, I don't necessarily know that FanTaSy has a very clean plan B here. He's still a great player, but it seems like there's so much momentum here for Classic. I'm not exactly sure what the angle or the timing is here for FanTaSy to come in and try to balance this out.
Yeah, the one thing that we can say is the supplies are just similar, right? 54 workers of 47, that's doable for Terran. Army supplies, it's about the same, and the production for Terran hasn't really truly kicked in, so we should see it go up a little bit quicker. But yeah, when I look at the tech especially, that's where I start getting a little bit more afraid for FanTaSy. Like, there's not going to be any sort of sharp timing where there's not enough splash damage or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think Protoss is very safely extending this game into a winnable position. And just now, Stim is halfway done. I mean, everything was so slowed down because of the type of rush that FanTaSy did. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Classic, I just drag this out, wait for FanTaSy to either expand or attack, and then start making my decisions. Because you know, had FanTaSy stayed on just 2 bases forever and then try to do a timing attack, I think the chances are higher that Classic wins. So I think Classic just wants to try to continuously outpace FanTaSy here.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I wonder, you know, he made the 3rd command, so obviously he needs to take that base. But I'm trying to think strategically what you want to do. Because he's making more siege tanks. We have seen, especially on New Repugnancy actually, some very weird mass siege tank attacks in this matchup.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think, like, is there any way that that can kill Classic? It feels like it's just his upgrades are all coming quickly enough, you know?
Yeah. Well, we got a little drop coming back in here. Hold on. It'd be pretty nifty if he got the Forge or something, but this is most likely just going to get some probes and then... Oh, is he actually going to get the Forge?
Yeah,
I thought we'd see something warp in here, but I guess he just came in there right as it warped and must have been somewhere else.
Tried to do something to the Phoenixes, but gets one sniped immediately. Look at that. Gets the Forge,
What
gets
am I
the pylon,
seeing here?
gets probes!
Whoa,
what are you
whoa,
doing,
whoa,
Classic?
Whoa. Okay, that was actually weird because I felt like our excitement levels right when the drop happened was where it was supposed to be.
Yes.
And then they just, the Forge went down and then probes are dying. I'm going, what's going on here?
Yeah, that did so much more than it was supposed to. So, I mean, congrats to FanTaSy. That was really, really effective.
Well, that was the kind of, like, Hail Mary play he needed there. Now, Classic's going to come across the map. I think Classic is probably interested in trying to pick a fight over where the 3rd base is, but we've got another drop coming here. And the recall was just used, by the way. So, he is not going to be able to get back home easily. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's actually backed up a little bit.
All right, a couple medevacs waiting to fly in here. He's doing a lot of scans on the army, which is really cool. Very Brood War-esque type of thing to do, right? You're looking to see exactly how it's positioned and how you can abuse it. So he's got this army in the center of the map. I believe as Classic comes up, if he engages that army at all, we're going to see those 2 medevacs zip right into the 3rd.
Yeah. No, he's got a good setup to try to pounce in there.
Okay,
Look, he's
coming
waiting for this. This is what FanTaSy wants. Watch, he's going to
Oh.
stim and run, and here comes the Medivacs. Whoa, 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 whoa! Terrible
Okay,
clicks.
I don't know what just happened there. That must have been like a bad hotkey or something.
Yes, that was a bad hockey.
Because
exactly.
that's not a thing that
Yeah.
we just saw there.
Yeah, that was really brutal because, I mean, tactically, this was an amazing move. And look, this drop is actually doing well. But he lost a giant chunk of army with that misclick.
Yeah, now Classic's going to try to attack in here. He's able to pick up a lot of these tanks. Is there enough, though, to get underneath everything else and win this fight?
Yeah, it seems like Classic just has enough here. The Liberator's actually doing some work, but, you know, if he had the rest of that bio, if that had actually stemmed and ran away, I think he would have, like, not died right at this second, but
GG.
This was Classic's game for quite a bit.
Beautifully done there. All right, so we're tied up 1-1. I'll tell you, though, I think Classic is feeling a little bit of fear here. Even though he won that game, that timing attack from FanTaSy was so good. It was so smart, and it should have worked. But Classic's micro is just absolutely perfect.
Yeah. A little bit of a mistake by FanTaSy as well, but you know what? You can see he brought some diverse and powerful plans with him here today. He really worked hard to get voted into this. He was definitely not on anyone's list for who was going to make it to this tournament, right? It was like, it seemed like we'd have the exact lineup we have right now and then like Innovation probably, right?
Yeah,
or maybe SOS over Trap or something like that. But
Right.
yeah, FanTaSy wants to be in this tournament very badly, and you can see the preparation already.
Okay, game 3 is going to be on Acropolis. Right now it's tied up 1-1. This best of 5 is a fight to get into that last spot in the round of 8. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm shocked at how good FanTaSy is playing here against Classic, of all people.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see if he can actually pull it off.
So Classic wants to check his headset, make sure there's no sound issues going on.
Yeah, definitely don't want to have any problems with that.
Yeah. Acropolis, it's a big map coming up next. I feel like this is very likely to be a mech map for FanTaSy. I mean, not that you can't play bio, but it's so large. It feels like it would be very difficult to get too much done there.
Okay, I think we're going to have to fill a little bit longer here, Artosis. This is quite a check that Classic has to do.
Yeah.
Definitely needs
Got
to
to make sure that your sound is right.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's
It's probably trying to turn on the Tastosis voice pack. Like,
that's right.
probably something was wrong there.
He was using the Korean Caster voice pack.
Yeah. You don't
Can't
want
win with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if FanTaSy is planned as well in these other games, I think Classic really will get a run for his money. It seems like Classic's like overall micro is a little bit better, but FanTaSy's macro and his planning is superior, at least so far.
I think his planning is definitely superior so far, but the thing is as well is he's dictating these games, which is a really important thing to note, because maybe Classic plans some really cool builds and cool ideas, but if FanTaSy turns on its head by doing strategies that are unexpected or aggressive at certain times that are going to throw his opponent off, you're dictating the game. You're not letting them play their plan, and that is a very powerful way to play best of 5.
You know, one thing to note as well is that when FanTaSy preps for these major StarCraft tournaments, especially when he was in his prime in StarCraft 1, it was like the perfect prep against a top-tier world-class player. That's why he was so scary, is he could engineer builds that would absolutely take down a top 10 best player in the world.
Yeah, of course, not all on his own, the Kespa era, coaches and stuff. I love Uv in his corner, Boxer in Uv's corner, the lineage of Terran.
Okay, game 3 has loaded up. It's on Acropolis. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the upper left, in the blue, our Protoss player. He is
Makers Classic.
and his opponent in the red. In the bottom right, our Terran player. He is
Pixel 1 FanTaSy.
And here we go. Quick
By the way,
scout.
yeah, there was an immediate probe sent out on the map here. And, you know, a lot of times people think about scouting proxies as like you need to find where the barracks is, but you can also just go to their main and say, okay, are you actually doing a normal build?
A lot of times that's actually better too.
Yeah.
Like if you find the barracks, great. If you don't, then you don't know if there's a proxy for so long that can really harm you as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Some good harassment from this probe thus far. Putting some damage on all these SCVs and letting it regen a little bit. Very, very annoying stuff.
Yeah, almost had one of those SCVs go down. Good save there by FanTaSy.
Not anything he's not used to, though, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Blocking probe harassment.
StarCraft 1 probes are real headaches for Terran.
Yeah.
There's a lot of damage that can be dealt with them in the little scouting phase. So it seems like FanTaSy wants to set up and get a quick command center over here at the Natural.
And down it goes. Of course, the Nexus has started as well. Looks like we have a full wall at the moment and blocking a Reaper path, so that Reaper not going to be all that useful. Actually, I think that's not 100% full wall. I believe it's like 3 gates to do it.
Factory's coming along. And let's see what kind of game we're going to have, because I don't believe FanTaSy's going to try anything like what we saw in Game 2. That's basically a build you would bring out only once in a best of 5.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment.
And that being said, we do have this SCV over here in the very upper right.
Huh.
So he might be trying to hide something else later on. I mean, the factory's almost done, so maybe he wants to put a starport up there. I don't know.
Makes a starport, not up there though. It's going to be in his main. Going to be hard to really scout anything though for a bit. That one adept coming across the map. You got to watch out and really make sure you don't let the adept in this game, because don't forget, so many SCVs took a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So it'll be 2 and 1-shotting quite a few workers.
Yeah, very, very good point.
Like this one gets 2 shot, so it's really smart for Classic to get this across the map immediately, to be honest.
Yeah, well, this is doing everything to slow him down. Oh, it's going to be the armory sitting over here. Okay, wow.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm excited. Okay, so you normally don't see a super fast armory in this matchup.
Yeah.
It's more of something that you'll see against Zerg players, right? Now, there's a couple things that it could be. What we could see would be, you know, quick drilling claws, something like that, quick drilling claw drop.
Sure.
Very kind of strange build. I mean, Hellbats, but like, what would you want Hellbats for against Protoss? That doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah, you know, I mean, unless there's...
Drilling claws.
There it is, drilling claws. I was going to say, unless there's some kind of really weird timing. You know, sometimes you can get, like, the wrong units in a matchup, but they hit at a specific time where even if your opponent's getting the right units, they don't quite have enough, and you cut the right corners, but it's going to be quick drilling claws. Now, keep in mind, the odds of this getting scouted are almost 0 here.
Yeah.
That hiding spot in the far upper right is so far away. And all the rest of the normal production buildings are just in the Terran's main. So you scout that with the Phoenixes, you just assume, okay, this is an ordinary game.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you see that blinking, the thing is he already made a Cyclone, right? So maybe you're thinking it's a Cyclone upgrade, something like that, which would be not completely abnormal.
Now, this is all happening as a third base is being taken for Protoss.
This is very exciting.
So,
you know, a lot of times Protoss can skip out on detection, but Drilling Claws gives back the cloaking feature after shots for Widow Mines. So
yeah,
this is something where not only do they burrow so quickly, it's really hard to pull probes. You have to almost do it preemptively. But if you don't have the detection, they just sit there. So
yeah, and then you're really starting to slow down the mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so this attack is about to commence. Here we go. The first medevac picks up the first 2 Widow Mines. Oh my God!
No!
No! Oh no! Oh, this is like everything that could have gone wrong for FanTaSy went wrong.
I tell ya.
FanTaSy was like about to have the best game of his life. We might as well have had a meteor hit the studio. Like,
dude,
this is just...
This could have been 3-0, okay?
I can't even.
Oh, that's crazy. And now he knows that upgrade's out. I mean, oh, that is just...
I don't even know what to say. That is so sad.
That's the antithesis of luck right there.
I can't even... Yeah, no kidding. It's just like... Oh, man, that sucks.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
because good work on Classic just keeping his Phoenixes there, but you don't know that he's going to come out at that angle or anything. Obviously, it's the best angle, kind of.
You might expect there to be Medivacs coming up, but you don't know that it's going to be like some kind of Widowmine drop. All right, let's see how this one does.
Oh my God, that's
Oh,
way there
guys.
again.
Oh, I'm so sad right now.
Yeah. FanTaSy prepped some really cool builds, really cool strats today.
One thing to
Going
remember
wrong.
is that it's the first part of the first drop that's the most important for that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, you have to get that in there, because that's where you get all the probes, and that's where it starts to snowball. You know, you hit those initial few, the next Medivac comes in there. And, I mean, it's not like FanTaSy is doomed to lose this game, but, you know, the fact that he's come here in 3 games in a row with completely cool, intelligent, well-thought-out builds, and in this one, fate was not on his side. That's too bad.
Yeah. Well, it didn't go well, but we'll see what type of fight that he can put up from here. You know,
I like the idea of this here. This is very cute. You know, the Phoenixes are going to be looking for you, so you basically just set a trap here. But you know, with this luck, it's never going to go by there.
No,
Phoenixes.
it's never going to come in.
Games like this, when it gets this unlucky, it can only get worse, Artosis. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
These ones don't fix themselves.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of this game, before we go to break, FanTaSy's going to sit up and realize it wasn't a gaming chair he was on. It was actually a bench with wet paint. And the day just gets worse. So, note Classic here, continuing to just stay on the edges. FanTaSy boxed in. FanTaSy with a very late third base as well, because of course this was intended for it to be a really crazy harass that would slow Classic down.
Yeah, I mean, everything is going to be a little bit slower, but you know, a lot of the things that make it kind of good PBT in some ways, like the fact that it is such a big map, that can help FanTaSy here as well, right? It's kind of takes longer for him to get over here. Oh, gonna try a draw.
Really good splitting there.
Yeah. Not getting quite what he wants. So this is going to be 3 Medivacs and 5 mines going down for 3 probes. Ouch.
All right, combat shields and concussive
only
shells
2
about to
Medivacs.
finish.
Oh yeah, the first one actually got back home. That's crazy.
Yeah, he just picked up the Widow Mines instead. Now, Protoss is attacking out, and we have a drop. It's right at about 12 o'clock on the mini-map. I don't know what's back at home here for Classic. He might be ready for this.
You know what's really funny is he's making a second armory right now. A little bit of autopilot going on. Of course, he has that hidden armory in the top.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a lot of charge lots.
Yeah, and you know, these Phoenixes can suicide in and pick up the Widow Mines, and I think this might just flood the location. Terran, even though the supply is pretty similar, the majority of the army was also in those 2 Medivacs at the top of the map. So, I mean, Classic just comes in here and is shutting FanTaSy down.
Yeah, I mean, if this many mistakes happen against Classic, he will just kill you. That is, you know, he's that good.
All right.
So,
FanTaSy, Pepe hands, man. This is
really
just,
brutal. Really.
This is just brutal, man. This is. Oh. Okay, GG. Classic is now in the lead, 2-1.
Yeah, he is. Here's what bugs me about this. I'm okay with Classic winning, of course. I love Classic. He's one of the best Protoss in the world. It would be well-deserved and all. But everyone is predicting Classic, like, oh yeah, he's just gonna wreck FanTaSy. And I'm like, okay, look, there's gonna be people who skip the match and then like maybe see a score of 3-1 or something, and I'm like, you don't know what happened. You don't know the truth. You don't know reality. FanTaSy actually brought some really great strats and is playing well tonight, but things are not going his way.
We're going to a break. We come back, Game 4, Classic versus FanTaSy. Don't go away.
2019 GSL versus the World.
All right, we're back. And this has got to be a story of redemption. Otherwise, Classic is just going to crush through. I mean, it's been a brutal series to watch. I mean, I'm used to FanTaSy, kind of being not the same player he was from before, but today he's bringing some of the best, smartest play I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's not executing it correctly.
Yeah.
Whether by fate or by bad decision-making in micro fights. And now, if Classic wins one more game, Classic moves on and FanTaSy's story ends here.
It's not an enviable position here for FanTaSy, but maybe he can bring it together.
Yeah, I think he's still got a shot. All right, game 4 is loaded up. The map is Turbo Cruise. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
In the upper right, in the blue, our Protoss player. He is
Makers Classic.
And in the bottom left, in the red, our Terran player. He is
Pixel 1 FanTaSy.
Oh, all right. Well, this is one of these games where maybe we won't even get to see what FanTaSy really wanted to do because Classic is already putting a pylon in the middle of the map.
Well, he's just going to go for a 2-gate play here. So it's a strong opener. It's definitely had its ups and downs as far as popularity. I guess we just wait and see how FanTaSy wants to open this, because a lot of times it just kind of comes down to, do you make a bunker? Do you figure out that you need the bunker before the Stalkers get there? Because once they get there, you don't really have too much of a shot on holding onto your command center. And then from there, that's a tough comeback.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a smart move here by Classic. I almost forgot that Classic has special builds that he can do this game. I've just been watching this from FanTaSy's perspective the whole time.
Good way to try to finish it.
Nope, not the best placed CC there.
Just wanted to get it started. Okay, so gets up here. No Nexus.
What?
Gets up here. Let's see what it is.
Now, we'll see there's only one pylon.
Yeah, that's kind of the takeaway there. So he needs to start the bunker. Yeah, he starts the bunker immediately.
Very good read here by FanTaSy.
Yeah. And that pylon is generally for Stargate. That's how Classic likes to do this build.
Yeah.
Look at that, on both sides.
Okay. SCV finally going to get back home here. Does not see that gateway. But the Adept can come in here and actually drive the SCV off of the command center.
Yeah, this is getting very annoying right now. He does have that one Reaper in the bunker, so that definitely does help a bit.
The thing is, one Reaper to bunker you could kind of just ignore.
Yeah. Look at that micro on the SCV. Starts it and then pulls it off over and over again to try to keep it away.
Okay, it's going to go down, though. Oh, kills it before it can duck into the bunker. Now, 3 Marines. Okay, can he actually
Ooh, he misses that shot. That was a nice pull-up by FanTaSy. That was actually quite important.
He's going to try to fish the Marines back towards him. There's a second Stargate coming. So this is not, the rush is not merely Adepts. There's a second phase here. Keep in mind, we want to look at the positions here of the anti-air units. Because right now the Adepts are wedged in between these 2 locations. And it's pretty easy for Classic to continue to filter Adepts over in this spot.
All right, let's see what he's going to do. He's coming down the ramp with 4 Marines and a Hellion.
Yes. Now he's behind the minerals. Again, this CC is not done yet. Okay, that's how much this rush is slowing him down.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that is a fleet beacon.
Oh my God, you're right. I was ready for an Oracle to fly in here, but
this is just turning into a Tempest rush.
Yeah.
Wow. Really cool to see.
Okay, finally, the CC can land in its proper location.
Now, according to, I believe, SOS, you are supposed to just get the upgrade for Cyclones. and then you get like 3 of them, and they can shut down this build. But yeah, we see a Cyclone on the way. He just doesn't know what's occurring, though.
Yeah, he might suspect it. It's not the craziest thing in the world to try this here, but
You know, we
again,
almost never see this build, but oh my god.
Oh, wait,
Viking,
is that going to go by it?
It might.
I think it actually, wait. All right, we're not going to get a shot of it on camera here. Instead,
oh,
we're
the
gonna watch this
Viking
fight.
was very close to it.
I don't know that it saw it, though.
Yeah, it might not have.
Did?
Oh, it might fly back over it?
Hold on. No, it's on patrol at the top. Okay, now the Viking's going to go further to the right. So I don't
He might
think
do
that,
some harassment with it or something.
Yeah, just try to land it over there. Since
Yeah.
there's so many adepts out here on the front.
Yeah, they 2-shot probes. I mean,
Oh, this is smart too. We had the Reaper come over here. This is actually a really good idea here by FanTaSy.
it's forcing some weapons at home as well, which
Oh,
can be nice.
that's
Okay, he
all he
sees a
needed to
fleet
see.
beacon. That's
Okay.
big. That's
Yeah.
big.
Wow.
Okay, so he's getting the upgrade. He's actually
gonna
making
let
a
that
siege
tank finish.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
He's going to be able to set batteries up outside the main here. So here comes the Tempest.
This is really scary.
You know,
He doesn't have an
he
eBay, does
actually
he?
could get in range of the tech lab here as well, Artosis. Oh, is he going to just try to hit the front? Okay, this is what I thought he was going to do, is just try to take pot shots from the main.
Oh my gosh, this is a tough one. You have to keep your Cyclones alive. It's like the most crucial thing here.
Yeah.
And what he wants with that bunker, by the way, is just to zone these out so they have to attack a bunker,
Yeah.
but he can't even get it up in time, so that's rough. He is making some Vikings as well. Okay,
Or-
2 Cyclones now. Oh, he might get this one.
Okay, hold on. He needs to turn
Yeah.
away. Oh, some miscontrol here by Classic. Oh,
Oh
Goes
my
down.
god, he gets the kill.
miracle play here.
Yeah, really important to get that kill.
Yeah. Especially when the Tempest count gets up to 3. That's when the headache really starts. We don't have another. Oh, hold on. Okay, he's trying to kite this. Kiting with Tempest always looks kind of funny, but it can be done. That's what we're seeing now.
The siege tank actually being pretty helpful as well. It's kind of zoning everything else out.
Yeah, it's keeping the ground army that's meant to protect the Tempest at bay.
By the way, there's not a lot of a continuation for this build for Classic.
Yeah.
It's not like Homie has forges going or splash damage on the
Yeah.
way.
Oh, is he actually going to get this tank?
Just barely
Just
not.
barely not, yeah. Yeah, there's not an easy way to transition from this. I mean,
Ooh!
okay, not bad. Batteries absolutely saving the day here. Can he get one more Tempest shot? He does not. Oh, he could do
Come
it
in
now,
and get
though.
it now.
Yeah.
Wrong
Oh,
Viking!
yeah. All right, there we go.
Really just wants the lock-ons here, but very good zoning.
Oh, he gets another Viking.
That's too bad. FanTaSy's getting a little bit sloppy, it feels like, right?
Yeah, well, I
Just
think
a little
he's
bit.
having a hard time controlling this. It's very frustrating because the Tempest always gets these shots off. So you're trying to run back, and then as the Tempest runs forward, you try to run underneath it and do damage.
Yeah. Okay, he's got to keep that repaired. All right, moving forward with these Cyclones. Loses a Cyclone. Continuing to make them, though.
Ouch. Another big hit there.
Oh, God, it's getting
You know,
worse
this
for FanTaSy right now.
Yeah, it's been back and forth on both sides, but you know, look at this. You see, again, you can see 3 is the right number, you know, when you get those Tempests out. But again, it knocked down to 2 once more.
So important. Every time they kill one of each other's units, whether it's a Cyclone or a Tempest, it is such a crucial moment. Is it 4 Tempests that one-shot a Cyclone?
I think so.
I think it is.
Now, oh, hold on.
Maybe it's 3.
But, by the way, we're running out of room for new batteries here.
Oh my gosh. That's a first world Protoss problem right there.
It's the 4 batteries that are in the front here to heal up these Tempests, and then they try to come forward a little bit more. I guess actually getting the reactor is not a bad move here. It's the closest thing that has any significance.
Okay, he is up to 4 Tempests, and by the way, we just confirmed it is 4 Tempest hits to one-shot a Cyclone. So this is where it gets really scary, because when you go in, you've got to be ready to lose one.
Yeah, and that means that, you know, a back and forth 3 or 4 times, and you could technically kill off all the Cyclones. Ooh! Oh, my God! Oh, my God!
He gets it. He gets it.
Now, we are eventually going to have a big attack here at the entrance as well, though. There's a lot of Zealots over here and Stalkers. This is a YOLO build, guys. I mean, you got to just go for it. You're not going to go back and take a third base, most likely.
He's on auto repair right now. The SCV is actually going a little bit crazy.
Wow. Bad way for that one Marine to go.
That starport, the amount that starport's in the way, It's pretty significant.
It's so funny when you have, oh my God. He just barely does not have enough shots. Oh my God, he's like shooting every single Viking and not killing it. They're all different fall colors.
Yeah.
Okay, he's so close. He's gonna try to come in again.
14 shield batteries right now.
One more, gets the Cyclone. Yep.
Ooh, Classic looks like he's done
we
it.
may be at the tipping point here.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe
Now
so.
the tank goes down. Oh gosh. You know, it's funny, the placement of one building like this can actually have such a huge impact on the game, like the fact that the starport's in the way of the ground army that needs to come in here and help out.
If that starport was not there, if it was just like somewhere else, I feel like he could have out-microed Classic here, to be honest. I feel like that could have been his advantage.
Okay,
oh my
great
God.
force field there.
Yeah, and Classic just going to end him here.
Yeah, this is the kill move here.
Well, he almost held. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely caught him off guard. It looked grim for a long time, then he almost did it. But Classic, just too strong. Anything goes wrong for you, and Classic is going to capitalize.
So I don't believe there's any way for FanTaSy to recover here. He's kind of well known for playing games out until almost all of his buildings are gone. But
yes, this is
I
definitely
don't
a
see him
FanTaSy
recovering.
GG timing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Well, there's a drop happening over here, but I mean, it's pretty easy to just warp in and take this fight, you know, or recall, or like, you know, or do whatever.
Or just let him kill
Or
everything
get
over
out of
there
your
and
chair
still
and
win.
go get a soda at a vending machine and then come back and win this. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
All right, GG. Classic does it, but what a great series. FanTaSy really showing that he's got a really big future in StarCraft 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was very impressive tonight. He kind of... similar but different feelings I had for his series and HeRoMaRiNE's, where both of them lost. But I was like, oh, these are very good players, and the series was closer than it might look on paper when you look at the score and whatnot.
Very unfortunate, some unfortunate happenings there for FanTaSy, but I do look forward to seeing him down the road here. And we are going to go to the interview now and see how Classic's feeling. Hajin, take it away.
And Classic is the last player to advance to the next round. Congratulations! I want to talk about the little ceremony FanTaSy did. Did that affect you in any way? 우선 8강주 축하드립니다. 경기 얘기 전 우선 정명훈 선수가 전용모 세레머니를 했는데 그게 영향을 미쳤나? 게임할 때 미치셨나요?
네. 조금 전용모를 보는 순간 약간 멘탈이 나가가지고 사실 지금 방금 4세트 빌드도 할까 말까 고민했는데 그 전용모를 보고 확실히 써야겠다 느꼈어요.
So actually that ceremony with the military cap, I totally lost it, you know? And even for that game 4, I was wondering if I had to do that build or not, but the ceremony made me decide to do the build. Well, I mean, it worked out pretty well. So now if you look at the round of 8, the players who made it to the round of 8, they're actually more foreigners than Koreans. So do you think the gap has finally closed, or maybe even Team World is even better than the Koreans now? 이제 8강 진출자를 보면은 사실 한국 선수보다 외국인 선수가 좀 더 많아요. 저희가 항상 하는 말이 있잖아요. 이제 외국인 선수들이 한국 선수 그냥 다 따라잡았다라고 하는데 어떻게 생각하시나요?
네, 저도 외국 선수들이 많이 잘해줘서 지금은 뭐 그냥 똑같은 것 같고요. 제가 스페셜을 굉장히 잘한다고 예전부터 느꼈었는데 이번에 8강에서 만나게 돼서 8강전 또 되게 힘들 것 같아요.
Yeah, so I think now the foreigners are as good as Korean players, you know, and now I have to play against Special in the next round. That, as I've always said, is a really good player. So actually I'm a bit worried. Well, let's see how it goes. Do you have any last words for your fans? 팬분들에게 마지막 한마디 부탁드립니다.
네, 오늘 이렇게 8강 올라가게 됐는데 내일 스페셜이랑 하는데 준비 더 열심히 해가지고 또 좋은 경기력 보여드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
So today I managed to qualify for the next round, so I'll try my best to show you even a better performance tomorrow. Well, congratulations again. So Classic is the last player to advance. We know the 8 players who will be playing tomorrow. Let's take a look at the final bracket. 8강 대진 확인해 보겠습니다.
Okay, so we've got it. We've got our final 8. And it's so cool to see the non-Korean players doing so well. But I again, the Koreans that we do have are absolutely from your nightmares. The three
They
scariest Protosses that you could ever imagine.
Kind of funny that only the Korean Protosses advance.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah. Funny in like a way.
Yeah.
Not like a
I'm laughing so hard, milk's coming out of my nose.
So look at these matches here. A laser versus time, stats versus Neeb, Serral versus trap, special versus classic. I'm gonna go ahead and say that classic is the best chance for Korea right now.
Really? Over stats.
You're so brave.
Over stats, yeah.
Dude, Neeb's PvP, do not underestimate it.
I don't, but I feel like Neeb himself does it, especially when he goes up against stats. He's always like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, too good.
Also, he said that he's better than Europe, but he didn't say anything about Korea.
That's true.
It's a really cool bracket. I actually think like Laser against Time is going to be super cool as well, because if Time gets that done as well, a Chinese player in the semi-finals of a big tournament, like,
That's
oh my
sick.
goodness, that's amazing.
I'm so happy with our results here today, but again, how did you guys feel seeing FanTaSy look like he had planned this so well, and then it just didn't work out?
It felt like the execution, I mean, we were talking about it like just while we were watching the games off stage, that the execution in that second game, it should have been a FanTaSy 2-0.
Yeah.
Not getting that bunker up in time.
That was
it's really heartbreaking, man, but you know what really was heartbreaking? That final game. I was just sitting there and I felt like every piece of my soul that is happy and good in this world was slowly dying with every Tempest falling.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, you have to be very, very smart to come up with a build like that, though.
Yeah, you also have to be very dirty and have no morals to do proxy Tempest, as far as I'm concerned.
You sleep on a bed of ladder points. Is how you sleep
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
No, like, I thought it was really cool, but I'm with Maynard as well. That second game is like, that bunker is like 85% done.
Yeah.
He brings 4 SCVs and he doesn't get it. I'm like, what? Stop
Also,
attacking the Robo, man.
You know, it's a build like you can only do that like once, basically.
yeah.
You know, so it's like he put it out there. Great
was cool.
idea. Definitely try that online. If you'll probably be the
Don't
people who
try
have
it
not
online.
seen that. The people who
Don't do it
haven't seen
online.
it will lose to it, I think, if you could pull it off perfectly. But guys, that's all the time we have. Viewers, thank you so much for watching us. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. KST for day 3 of GSL versus the world. Bye-bye.
2019 GSL versus the world.
Just a chance, let's go out and dance. We can get into the groove. I can watch you move. Later you can sing to me like a shining star.
His base under siege by Serral. And if he loses this Nexus, I can't. No, that's going to be it.